Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to the speaker of the day, Awab, Fakih sir, the panelists, and also the students, parents who have just started joining the session. Let's wait for the other joinees to join. Till then, let's watch a video showing AMP's journey since the past 14 years. Thank you, Aisha, for playing the video. I, Mrs. Asma Firdos, the host for today's session on careers in physical sciences and engineering, take the privilege to begin the session with respected attendees. Before handing over the session to the speaker, I would like to introduce you all about AMP, its mission, its vision, and its achievements. I request Ms. Aisha to run the PPT. AMP stands for the Association of Muslim Professionals. It is a non-profit organization registered in India, USA, UK, and Australia. AMP has completed its 14 years serving our community in the field of education, employment, and empowerment. The next slide. AMP's mission is to empower the underprivileged for the greater benefit of the society in general and nation as a whole. AMP has a very broad vision to positively impact lives of 10 million people by the year 2030. The next slide. The AMP flagship projects include the Employment Assistance Cell, the Employability Training Program, the AMP Zakat Fund, the empowerjobs.com, the indiamentors.com, etc. Today's session on careers in physical sciences and engineering is the third session among the 12 career guidance lectures arranged by the AMP for the students of grade 10 and 12 under the School Development Program, which is one of the major flagship projects of AMP. Under this School Development Program, we connect with multiple schools and arrange the skill development lectures on a regular basis. We also conduct parenting workshops and teacher training workshops under this School Development Program. We also conduct the National Talent Examination in the month of November for the school students and the junior and senior college students. The objective of conducting this examination is to increase and reward the students' general awareness and identify the brightest students to support and nurture them. We also reward the winners with cash prizes. Dear students, you can also register yourself for this NTS examination on the AMP mobile app Champion. Through this app, AMP intends to keep every Indian student connected in future. This app, the Champion app, can be downloaded from the Play Store. Not to forget that through this app, students are benefited by AMP's numerous programs like the career counseling, the scholarship guidance, employment training, financial assistance for higher education, and for guidance to admissions in foreign universities. This is in brief about the AMP's vision, mission, and achievements, including its flagship projects. The next slide. Here you can see some more flagship projects, that is the Higher Education Scholarship Guidance. The Education Excellence Award started in the year 2016, and the Social Excellence Awards to the NGOs and International Scholarship Guidance, Education Guidance also is included under the flagship projects. So this slide shows AMP's reach. So currently AMP has more than 140 plus active chapters, which are spread across 26 states and 20 countries. It also has its online presence of around 125,000 members and professionals connected to the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. The next slide. How can you support AMP as students? You can extend your support to AMP by being a volunteer. You can participate in our projects and support us in our drives, campaigns, and activities. When you support AMP, the Association of Muslim Professionals, you are supporting the community. The next slide. To join AMP, visit www.ampindia.org/joinamp. Today we have amidst us Professor Awab Habib Fakih as the speaker on the topic Careers in Physical Sciences and Engineering. Professor Awab Fakih is the Director of Students Alliance LLP, an elite edutech company which provides STEM and robotics training to students along with various other courses. He has an experience of more than 15 years in the field of education and counseling. Sir, we are very happy and privileged to have you as the speaker for today's session. I, on behalf of all the core team members of the Association of Muslim Professionals, extend a warm welcome to you, sir. Before handing over the session to the speaker, I would like to inform the attendees to post their doubts regarding the session in the Q&A box. The relevant questions will be answered by the speaker at the end of the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Jazakallah khair for joining and giving your time, and same thing applies to all my dear hosts whom we are having it right away. So basically the topic was given for having a career in engineering, or it could be a science stream. So before starting into it, कुछ जो points है जो काफी कुछ लोगों को, because I'll be going into a Hindi English mix, by looking at the different segments of audience what will be having it in our portfolio today in attendee segment. So जहाँ पे major जो doubts आते हैं, पहले हम उसको एक-एक करके हम उसको resolve करते हैं. And Asma ma'am have already conveyed to you कि हमारे पास Q&A करके option है यहाँ पे, right? जिसमें आप please आपके एक-एक करके doubts आप put up कीजिए, and कुछ जो already questions आ चुके हैं that we won't be taking it, और जो cover up नहीं हो चुके हैं तो we'll try our best कि वो एक-एक करके हमारे जो panelists हैं, including me as well as the panelists, can answer all these questions to you. ठीक है? So it could be a to and fro seminars more than आपको मैं एक PPT दिखाऊं ताकि हम कुछ बात करके कुछ एक दूसरे को सीख सके ये टॉपिक के बारे में. जब हम इंजीनियरिंग की बात करते तो पहले कुछ साल पहले ऐसा था कि हमारे पास एक बहुत लिमिटेड डोमेन्स थे. हमने कुछ एक लिमिटेड डोमेन्स हम लोग सुनते थे एंड द स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे बच्चे लोग को, हमारे भाई बहन को हम लोग उसमें हम लोग एंटर करते हैं। आज की तारीख में द सिनेरियो इज वेरी वेरी डिफरेंट। जो एनईपी से काफी फर्क इसलिए पड़ा है बिकॉज जो भी नए कोर्सेज बने हैं, ऑलरेडी जो एग्जिस्टिंग कोर्सेज थे उसमें काफी हद तक का एक इम्प्रोवाइजेशन आ चुका है, जो काफी स्किल बेस्ड हो चुका है। पहले ऐसा था कि बहुत काफी थ्योरेटिकल सिलेबस था, तो जब बच्चा पढ़ के निकलने का उसको एक एक्सपीरियंस, स्किल बेस्ड एक्सपीरियंस काफी कम होता था। तो वो आज की तारीख में धीरे धीरे काफी हद तक जा रहा है बिकॉज कुछ लोगों को लग रहा है कि वो सोशल मीडिया देख के एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ की इंजीनियरिंग का डिमांड कम हो रहा है। ये दिस इज इररिलेवेंट, इट इज एवरीथिंग मैटर्स योर स्किल सेट। देयर आर a number of company who are looking for good people जिसमें स्किल सेट चाहिए, so that is what the ultimate motto is about. And when you talk about science, few people think कि नहीं, why engineering, कि हमें 4 साल का हो सकता है कि इसको टाइमलाइन सूट नहीं करे, हो सकता है कि इसको फाइनेंस सूट नहीं करे। There are an alternative option also which is coming up, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं बीवॉक, बैचलर ऑफ वोकेशनल्स करके। बीवॉक का जो सिलेबस काफी जो बना है थ्रू, वो काफी इंडस्ट्री ओरिएंटेड बना है। एंड अभी स्टिल देयर आर यूनिवर्सिटीज हु हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड, बट एग्रेसिवली काफी लोग इसमें बढ़ रहे हैं। इस साल काफी कुछ यूनिवर्सिटी स्टार्ट कर रही है एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ, आगे भी होता रहेगा। सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द अपकमिंग एक डोमेन आता है जिसमें आपको एक बीवॉक करके आपको काफी कुछ जगह यूनिवर्सिटीज या कॉलेजेस में आपको देखने मिलेगा। या आपने अभी से अगर आपने वेबसाइट्स एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ अगर आपने चालू कर दिया होगा, तो डेफिनेटली यू माइट see कि BWalk and XYZ domain and so on and so forth। जो भी आपको, I won't be saying a particular domain because ताकि वो मैं आपको influence नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, irrespective, because my domain would be different, your domain would be different, your choice would be different, right? अगर एक broader domain हम लोग पूछे कि भाई scope किसमें, देखो scope ultimately depend करता है आपके skill set पे। You talk about mechanical, you talk about civil, you talk about electrical, you talk about artificial intelligence, you talk about machine learning, you talk about data scientists, you talk about data engineer, irrespective of that, आपके skill set बहुत मायने रखते हैं। And for that skill set, you have to be very very sure कि what kind of curriculum you would be learning। तो या तो हो सकता है कि आप उसको इंजीनियरिंग अगर ऑप्ट नहीं कर पा रहे बिकॉज ऑफ XYZ रीजन, यू फील कि आप उसको BSc IT ऑप्ट करें, तो BSc IT से एक अच्छा ऑप्शन जो आ गया है वो BWalk आ गया है। एंड इन दैट केस लाइक आपको उसमें आप अगर 3 साल कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाए, इवन इफ यू एबल टू कंप्लीट फर्स्ट थिंग, Sure, Safa. So if you're not able to complete your whole complete 3 years of your BWalk, and even if you complete only for the first year, you still get a certifications, right? So that will help you. So in between, like irrespective of whatever scenario comes into your life, whichever semester you complete, you will still be getting a credentials for it. So that is an advantage comparatively to the older tradition, what we were already doing it. And एक और एक normally doubt we do get it कि sir should we go for a B or should we go for a B.Tech, right? So which one we should go for it? Listen to it. Like B.Tech, you would normally hear that this course B.Tech mainly into a deemed university or a autonomous or in some central government universities. Okay, and when you talk about the private colleges, you hear the word B, Bachelor of Engineering. So majorly the concept is utterly same. So it is not the case like you go with a B.Tech degree and you go with the B degree if the skill set is higher in the child who have done B, so B.Tech will be getting an advantage into the job. It is nothing like that. What matters is your skill set. So irrespective you go for a B.Tech, you go for a B, that what will matter is your skill set. So let's make it this thing very very clear. Okay, so ये बहुत I'll go with a mixed combination English and Hindi. Okay, so ये बहुत चीज बहुत important है. So B और B.Tech में आप please confuse मत होइए. That is very very important. Okay, हम लोग जाते हैं कुछ fields के बारे में। अर्ली कैसा होने का एक मेजरली डोमेन थे, 3 डोमेन थे, ठीक है। 80s की बात करें या हम लोग 90s की बात करें, एक इलेक्ट्रिकल एक मेजर डोमेन था, एक हमारे पास मैकेनिकल एक मेजर डोमेन था, एक हमारे पास सिविल था। ये 3 हमारे एकदम पेरेंट डोमेन है। जो भी फील्ड्स अगर इसमें से निकली है, अगेन व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट कंप्यूटर इट केम इनटू लेटर ऑन स्टेज, फिर इसमें से देयर आर डिफरेंट डोमेन्स व्हाट वी हियर इट। हम आईटी इंजीनियरिंग सुनते हैं, वी हियर इट अबाउट आईटी इंजीनियरिंग, राइट? वी हियर अबाउट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ, राइट? सो दैट इज समथिंग आर डिफरेंट सब सेगमेंट्स स्ट्रीम जो और मोस्ट स्पेशलाइज्ड डोमेन्स उसको कहा जाता है। एक तो स्पेशलाइज्ड डोमेन था, एक तो होता है मोस्ट स्पेशलाइज्ड, इन द सब डोमेन्स कैटेगरीज आ जाती है। इन दैट सेगमेंट हमें देखने मिल जाता है। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, जो हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिकल डोमेन कहते हैं, तो इलेक्ट्रिकल डोमेन में इस हम लोग जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स जो कहते हैं, दैट इज नथिंग बट अ पार्ट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक। फिर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स हो गया, एक आपका इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड टेलीकम्युनिकेशन हो गया। अभी वी आर गेटिंग अ स्ट्रीम नोन एज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड कंप्यूटर साइंस, इन विच you will be getting a combination, आपको दो combination मिलता है, right? You get a combination about electronics but plus a computer. So you get a hardware as well as a knowledge for the software as well. So this is one of the very good combination what the universities are coming up with. So you have to be very, very clear, very smart enough कि which domain you would like to go for it. Earlier कैसा होने का कि you would get a stream जिसमें खाली hardware focus हो रहा था 4 साल, either you get a field जिसमें खाली software focus हो रहा था. Now you have an option where you can study both the segment on equal part, like you will be getting an hardware as well as software, both the expertise together in the coming 4 years. So ये कुछ नए नए जो आपकी डोमेन्स आ रहे हैं उसमें काफी हमें एडवांटेजेस काफी आ रहा है। ये हो गया आपका इंजीनियरिंग। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, इसमें then again you when you go for it, you get into marine, you get into aircraft and so on and so forth. So when you talk about marine engineering, so there are very few universities pan India, like hardly there are 11 to my count, जिसमें आपको marine engineering मिलते हैं. Again, when you talk about aircraft, again aircraft, there are n number of domains for it. Either you go into aircraft maintenance, that is something a 2 years course. Either you go for a aircraft engineering domain, you get for 4 years course, and so on and so forth. So एक थोड़ा एक broader version है जो क्या क्या कोर्स आपके पास अवेलेबल है, बट प्लीज मेक श्योर कि जो एक नए कोर्सेज जो आगे है, बीवॉक भी आ गया है, पीपल हु आर नॉट थिंकिंग अबाउट इंजीनियरिंग, जिसमें या तो कुछ फाइनेंशियल हो गया या तो वक्त के दरमियान हो सकता है, आप प्लीज बीवॉक के लिए एक बार सोचिए। इफ यू से मी कि भाई व्हिच वन वी शुड ऑफर इट, इफ यू हैव टाइम, if you have good grades for it, please go for engineering first. That would be your first priority. Second would be your BWOC, okay, and third would be your BSc IT kind of stuff. So this is a little upper version. I would not say a replacement, a little upper version than BSc IT, because over here the syllabus is completely practical based learning. So it will really help you whenever you get into industry. You will have that kind of industrial exposure while doing your BWOC. Okay, condition apply. That university or that college should have good labs. That is really must needed for it. Okay, so this is one of the way for it. In between, we'll start taking up this questions for it. So we have Fatima, right? We have Fatima with us. Yes, Fatima. In this case, you would go with PCM. Thank you so much. So next one we have with us. Can you share about biomedical engineering? Yes, biomedical engineering, if you talk about, if you want a slight glimpse about it, whenever you visit a hospital, right, you see that equipments, right? Either it could be a CT scan, either it could be a number of equipment when you see into ICU or general checkup, right? So that is something where a biomedical student would get a chance to work into that industry domain. So where he will be having that knowledge of the hardware, software, and the biological terms as well. So that is a combination of both. Again, there are very few universities into this domain who are giving a biomedical course. But please make sure whenever you take an admission, right, Mr. Mohammad Ashfaq, whenever you are planning to take an admission for your son or for your daughter or whomsoever it may be, please make sure the labs are pretty good enough. Second thing, the MOUs with the manufacturers who are into biomedical equipments, because that is the only thing which will give them an advantage. Only bookish knowledge won't help them to a longer perspective. Thank you. So since the audience, we are getting a reply because some of them want in Hindi, some of them want in English. So I'm trying my best so that to repeat both the content into English and Hindi too. Okay. So this was one of the major overall view when you talk about engineering. Second thing, when you start working for your admissions, right? So whichever state may be, either you would have given the state entrance, either you would have already given JEE, right? National entrance, right? So please make sure when you make your list of top 10 colleges, right, to your domain. For example, if Mohammad Ashfaq had a question about biomedical, so you make a list about top 10 biomedical college. So make a 2 list. One is a national list, one is a state list. Okay, so that will really help you in applying to a good college. So when you make a list to a national and a state list, the first thing what you do is go and have a look at the website and go and have the look at the review ki how many MOUs that college and that university is having for it. Because ये चीज है ना आपको बहुत बहुत काम आएगी. जितने उनके MOUs अगर उनके external industry से रहेंगे, that will really help them in getting good kind of knowledge and good kind of expertise from the industry to the college, and similarly vice versa, that students would also get कि उनको वहाँ पे visit करने मिलेगा. The students would also get a good visit to in that kind of industry where they would really love to work, right? So ये बहुत जरूरी है. This is what when you talk about admission perspective. Number one is your domain. Once you finalize your domain, second is that you make a to list. It will really give you a rough idea कि what should be there into your university or college when you choose that domain. Okay, that domain could be any XYZ domain for it. So make a top 10 list of the national level, top 10 as a state level. Looking at your marks, if you think your marks is at a very intermediate level, then make a list according to that level. Second, one of the most important thing where AMP can really help you is that, for example, if Mohammad Ashfaq has needs some guidance for biomedical, you will have people in AMP who have done biomedical and are working in biomedical industry. One of the our colleague was asking about astronauts. So there, I don't know about any of the astronaut in AMP, but still we can have a R&D with our team, and we can tell them, we can ask queries who is working into that similar domain. So that could really help you in getting connected to that particular segment, that particular expertise. आपको वो लोगों से कनेक्ट करने मिलेगा जो ऑलरेडी वो चीज में काफी सालों से काम कर रहे हैं. So this is the overview, and once you get the overview, उसके बाद आप shortlist करते हो, ये आपकी list आप बनाएंगे. That will really help you, because ये MOU काफी हम parents as a student हम लोग इस पे focus नहीं करते. इस पे हमें focus करना बहुत जरूरी है. देखो, when you do a graduation, when you go for your masters abroad, right, हम लोग college ranking देखते नहीं हैं. हम लोग ये देखते हैं कि वो particular course की ranking क्या है at in that particular country or worldwide. So more than college ranking, that course की ranking really matters, because वो particular course जो चल रहा है उसके MOUs कितने हैं, उसके placements कैसा है, उसके collaborations कैसे हैं, क्या टाइप के projects उन्होंने बनाए हैं, and so on and so forth. There are n number of parameters. उनके faculties कैसे हैं, faculties का profile कैसा है, उन्होंने क्या क्या काम किया है industry में. So बहुत सारी चीजें मायने रखती हैं. So ये similarly, when you take an admission into this domain, make sure you definitely go for placement. हम एक चीज खाली देखते हैं, आप please MOU भी देखिए. It will really help you in shortlisting a very good college and very good university. ठीक है. Apart from this, यहाँ पे आप ये भी देखिए colleges में कि colleges में what kind of workshops उनको approachable हैं. There are few colleges and universities जिसके industry से tie up है, जहाँ पे industry की equipment वहाँ पे उन्होंने lab setup किया है. So a student can get a direct hands-on experience. उनको directly experience मिलता है वो सब प्रोडक्ट पे काम करने का, जो ऑलरेडी वो इंडस्ट्री में जाके काम करेंगे. आप बोलेंगे सब कॉलेज में होता है? नहीं होता है. देयर आर वेरी फ्यू कॉलेज एंड यूनिवर्सिटी, बिकॉज या तो उनके स्टाफ ने बड़ी मेहनत करके लाई होगी चीजें, या दे वुड हैव वर्कड वेरी हार्ड फॉर इट टू गेट दैट लैब इनटू देयर कॉलेज. आइदर द कॉलेज हैव रियली मेड अ बिग नेम, या तो कॉलेज ने काफी बड़ा नाम बनाया होगा वो पर्टिकुलर ड्यूरेशन में. सो ये सब चीजें हमें बहुत अहमियत रखती है वो सब चीजें के लिए. ठीक है, लेट्स हैव कि कुछ हम लोग क्वेश्चंस देखते हैं. कुछ लोग ने अगर क्वेश्चंस हमें पुट अप किया है. वन इज मिस्टर अली इज पुटिंग अप की स्कोप ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. अली, मैं आपको बता, आई डोंट नो हाउ एल्डर हाउ यंगर यू आर टू मी, आई एम जस्ट रेफरिंग टू योर बाय फर्स्ट नेम. अगर आप मुझसे बड़े हैं तो मैं माफी चाहूंगा वेल इन एडवांस. अली, मैं आपको बोलना चाहूंगा कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स हैज अ ट्रेमेंडस स्कोप. अगर आपने, इफ यू आर वेरी एक्टिव इनटू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स से कुछ मैगजीन्स इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के बारे में अगर आप न्यूज रीड करते हो अली, आई वुड रियली वांट टू पुट अ हाईलाइट फॉर इट कि देयर इज चिपसेट इंडस्ट्री. अगर आपने सुना होगा, गवर्नमेंट इज फंडिंग इनटू बिलियंस फॉर अ चिपसेट इंडस्ट्री. गवर्नमेंट इज प्रमोटिंग कंपनीज who wants to develop into chipset industry, chipset manufacturing and chipset designing and so on and so forth. So electronics would have a very 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 huge scope. Earlier हमारे पास मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट अली उतने नहीं थे. नाउ गवर्नमेंट इटसेल्फ इज जस्ट प्रमोटिंग ह्यूज इंडस्ट्रीज ताकि आप वहां पे सेटअप कीजिए. गवर्नमेंट उनको सब्सिडीज प्रोवाइड कर रही है इन टर्म्स ऑफ लैंड, इन टर्म्स ऑफ नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स, व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट डेवलपमेंट एंड टैक्सेस एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. तो नाउ द स्कोप इज ट्रेमेंडस. अगर आप देखोगे अटल योजना पे, तो वहां पे यू विल कम टू नो कि व्हाट आर द facilities what government is giving to companies for chipset manufacturing. Thank you, Ali. So I have already answered your questions for it. Next, we have Nashra Sheikh with us. I have the SSC examination. I want to plan my career into software engineering, but I'm a bit confused to apply for diploma course. I should go for diploma course or just after 10th or 12th. For 10th or 12th, and many are saying that it's better if you go at please guide me. Okay, Nashra. So Nashra, have a question. Ki after SSC, what should go for? She's already have applied her mind ki she want to go for a software engineering. Okay, Nashra, there are two ways for it to go into engineering. One is 10th के बाद नशरा या तो हम 10th करें, 10th के बाद 10th के बाद हम 12th करें, 12th के बाद एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन दे, एंड देन हम इंजीनियरिंग में एंटर कर सकें. ठीक है, दिस इज वन वे. Once you give your 10th, you give your 12th examination, then you give your entrance examination, and then you enter into engineering. So this is one way. Second way is, Nashra, you have already said it, you give your 10th, then you get yourself admitted to diploma college. Okay, diploma engineering 3 years, and then into direct second degree engineering and 3 years. So 6 years and 6 years. 2 plus 4, like 2 years 11th 12th, and 4 year engineering, 3 years diploma, 3 years degree. So the duration is same on both the patterns. Okay, so how to decide it? So Nashra, if you are very clear about your domain, okay, you feel ki no, I am very clear, I want to go into software engineering, the best way to go is via diploma, Nashra, because the diploma studies will really help you in getting a very good understanding your degree studies. Because second, apart from studies, secondly, you would already be inhabited कि आपको semester pattern में ऑलरेडी आप 10th के बाद से आप एम्बेड हो जाओगे, आपको पता है कि सिस्टम कैसा चलता है. फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर वुड बी थोड़ा आपको अनईजी लगेगा बिकॉज आपको ईयरली पैटर्न की आदत है एग्जामिनेशन देने की, पर यहाँ पे सेमेस्टर पैटर्न शुरुआत से दोगे तो आपको एक हैंड्स ऑन हो जाता है. सेकंड, 11th 12th में आपको जो एक मेजर प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाते नहीं हो, बट इन डिप्लोमा व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट you make good projects which has a very good caliber than 11th 12th projects, right? So वो चीज आपको काम आ जाती है. सेकंड, कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स ऐसे होंगे जो कि उसका एडवांस वर्जन आपका डिग्री में होता है, तो उसके कुछ बेसिक्स अगर पहले से क्लियर है, आपको डिग्री में कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स में काफी मदद होती है. So if you're already very clear with the branch you want to go for it, getting into diploma is the bestest way of doing an engineering. But if you aren't clear ki what domain, what branch you should select, then getting to 11th 12th is the bestest option. अगर आप क्लियर नहीं कि आपको करना क्या है, कौन से फील्ड में इंजीनियरिंग करना है, तो 11th 12th पहले आप कीजिए, ताकि आपको और 2 साल मिल जाता है सोचने के लिए, लोगों से डिस्कशन करने के लिए, राय लेने के लिए, ओपिनियन लेने के लिए, एंड देन यू गिव योर MSCT एग्जाम एंड लुक एट द मार्क्स एंड अकॉर्डिंगली यू अप्लाई फॉर द कॉलेज एंड यूनिवर्सिटीज. ओके, so this is the answer for it, Nashra. Thank you so much for putting it up. Scholarship details engineering, different engineering college. We have someone. ठीक है, when you talk about, मैं आप सब चीज को डिटेल दे नहीं सकता, but we have a scholarship cell in AMP itself. It will really help you. After the webinar, please get connected to the AMP team. Okay, आपने वेबसाइट ऑलरेडी देख ली होगी. आसमा I have given a very beautiful introduction about AMP. AMP उससे भी ज्यादा खूबसूरत है माशाल्लाह. ठीक है, when you talk about scholarship के regarding there are 26 scholarships, okay, national scholarships, where आपको it would really help you in graduate level. So that would really help you. So this is what my answer is. I can only say that count as of now. More it would be difficult into such a short span, and plus it varies from state to state. And okay, can you suggest few university with good labs and teaching, Safan? Safan, when you talk about good labs and teaching, it is the most important parameter is what is the domain you want to. So when you say the good labs, your domain is very important. According to the domain, we would be shortening the lab and the teaching criteria. So the domain have to be very clear for it. Thank you so much, Safan, for putting up a question. This is how to find out we want PCMB rather than PCB. Fatima, it is a completely personal question for the individual, right? A third person cannot answer that. Okay, the only advantage what you have when you go for PCMB is that you have both the options open for it. When you go for PCM, you have this cone open for it. When you go for PCB, you have this cone open for it. When you go for PCMB, the whole tunnel is open for it. But it's always prefer you already having 2 years in your hand. So it is always preferable that so that in that 2 years, or in fact in 1.5 years, the child should make up a mind in which direction he or she should go for it. It will be really be helpful for her or him to move ahead. Okay, because instead of putting focus on all four direction, if he focuses on, or if he or her focuses on only on 3 direction, so the result would be but obvious would be better, right? We have Shera Fatima. I'm in class 11th. I have 2 choices, either maths or computer science. Which one I should take with biology? So that will help me most in my medical studies. Okay. Shera Fatima, I would still suggest you, even if you have already planned for it, maths is always preferable. That is something you can't run away with it. But when if you talk about in terms of marking scheme and everything, the computer science will really help you in scoring good marks, because that have practical, that have theory part, so that scoring becomes much easier comparatively with mathematics. Thank you so much for putting up a question. Anjum, yes, Anjum, sorry, like I am not the right person to help you with this for air hostess course. So there are people into this domain with EMP, so they would really help you in this. Sorry for it, Anjum. Thank you. Jazakallah khair for putting up a question. Assalamu alaikum, Raza. Yeah, Raza. Oh, mashallah. At 15, you are doing it very good. Raza, if you can directly get connected to AMP, either putting a mail, they are very prompt in replying back. They will reply you within 48 hours. So we would be very glad to have such a young personality who could be a part of our community website. Please do mail them. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Yeah. Civil engineering ke bare mein, can you tell me about it? Yes. There are times like when we talk about people like civil engineering, ऐसा था कुछ हमेशा side oriented ही था. The time have changed, and even in the civil engineering there are n number of softwares जो people are working on it. जिसमें आपको for example हम example ले लेते हैं, अगर हमें building एक बनानी है, so पहले ऐसा था कि सब अंदाजे पे काम चलने का. आज की तारीख में there are softwares which will tell you कि आपको कितना ईंट लगेगी, कितना सीमेंट लगेगा, कितना स्टील लगेगा. Every minute details will help you. At what level, how much steel you would require, everything, each and every minute details. So there are domains in civil engineering too which have an office work too. पहले ऐसा था कि भाई civil क्या मतलब खाली site पे. There are I have seen people, even girls doing civil engineering, जिसमें majorly site work नहीं होता है, majorly office work ही है कुछ domains में. Okay, but still there are. So civil engineering काफी कुछ it has developed. In fact, there are people who have done civil engineering and who have done a short parallel, you have done diploma course and certification course in architecture for designing. So एक combination मिल गया हमको, एक civil engineering मिल गया plus architect का एक उनको एक taste मिल गया. So as a contractor बनने के लिए, as an architect contractor बनने के लिए उनको काफी कुछ benefit हो गया जिन्होंने खुद का business start किया है. So कल limit खाली एक site तक नहीं रही है, काफी कुछ it has gone to a different level. What is better, data architect, data engineering, cloud data engineering? What is better? It is not a right question. What is important? What kind of skill set you are having it? If you put me, if there is a person who is extremely good into data architect, definitely he has a good scope. Who is a data engineer, definitely he would have a good scope. Who is a cloud data engineer, definitely he would have a good scope. Simple as that. The point is that what contribution you can do to the company, that matters. कि आप अपनी कोई भी कंपनी में ज्वाइन करते हो या कोई कंपनी में मौका मिलता है, आप वहां पे कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या लेवल पे करते हो, ये बहुत मायने रखता है. rather than कि आपको क्या आता है, वो बहुत मायने रखता है. प्लीज ये चीज को समझ लीजिए आप. All the three have a tremendous scope, but the point is that कि what you know that वो तीनों चीज अब तक फ्लडेड नहीं हुई है. तीनों चीज में काफी कुछ स्कोप है, तीनों एवॉल्विंग ही हो रही है. फ्लडेड नहीं हुआ है. फ्लडेड मतलब पूरा भर नहीं चुका है. काफी कुछ लोगों की जरूरत है इसमें अभी भी. Shatatan, how to choose an engineering branch, getting you, helping you in this short webinar would be extremely difficult for me. But the best way is that do one thing, read something about every engineering. Okay, that will really help you. Okay, read something about electrical. I'm telling you about the major domains, right? Electrical, mechanical, civil. At least read about this thing. Okay. And then once you read about all the three domains, then you come down to branches for it. Electrical, you have more 5 to 6 branches. And then again, when you talk about mechanical, उतने bifurcations India में नहीं है, but again एक specialization एक है. Again civil में there are, like we have construction management where there are people who do, after doing civil engineering, they do go for a construction management ताकि एक civil की भी knowledge आए, and एक बार site के लिए as a supervisor आपको management की भी एक knowledge आ जाए आपको how to manage all this stuff. ठीक है. There are a number of things which are coming it up in this domain, but unless if you don't read it, that is the only point you can ask question to the expertise. देखो आपको अगर समझना है, क्लैरिटी आने के लिए आपको कुछ रीड करना पड़ेगा. आप एक रीड करके सही क्वेश्चन सही इंसान को पूछिए तो जब आपको क्लैरिटी आएगी. ठीक है. So when you talk about domain wise expertise, you in AMP you would have people from all the expertise, right? We have if you talk about me, so I have an expertise in one particular domain. We have Sayed Saab, we have Asma ma'am, and so on and so forth. There are a number of very senior people with us in AMP. So in that way, you can just put a mail to them and you can get a reply in that perspective. तो आपको वो काफी मदद होगी उसमें. More than आप किसी और से मत पूछिए कि मतलब क्या हम ब्रांच पसंद करें या हम ब्रांच कैसे चूज करें. थोड़ा आप रीड करके क्वेश्चंस करेंगे ना, तो ये एक तरीका सही होगा आपको चीज समझने के. We have someone. Yes, is JEE important? It depends. If you directly give your state entrance, so JEE is not compulsory. JEE is only like if mandatory only for the national institutions. So if you want to go into a national institution, only in that case JEE is mandatory. Given the fact there is so much craze for software engineering, how do I know if I should or I shouldn't opt for it? So it depends what exactly you are doing into. Like for example, you are into 11th, you're into 12th. If you have taken computer science, how much do you love into coding? And coding is only one segment of computer engineering, or so if you talk about software engineering, there are a number of domains, right? Which there are few domains which doesn't require coding for it. It requires some logical and critical stuff for it. So it is not only about coding. There are software engineering has grown up to a different segments. Okay, so irrespective how good your math, physics, sciences, it is all about love and care what you have to achieve that output. Mubina, which branch has the best scope in the future? Mubina, this is something like a very tukka question for it. If I say one branch, it doesn't work in that manner. Professionally, it is not possible to tell that. Ultimately, it is what I can tell you is that what will matter, whichever domain you selected, make sure you are best in that. You need to have the best in skills in that particular domain, which is required into the industry. That will really make your future. That is the way you should go ahead with it, rather than doing a reverse engineering what is working in the industry. So Mohammad Saab, any business option? Yeah, every field have a business option, Mohammad Saab. Every field have it. So it is only about what skill and where do you put your stone, right? So every field of business is completely open for everyone. So if you talk about currently, there are two major players like in IT industry, Bangladesh and India are playing when you talk about backend office, they are playing at a huge number of skills. So we have a Silicon Valley. If we talk about Bangalore, why people are going to Bangalore? Because the major IT hubs, the major the backend projects, what the European countries are being taken from is from Bangalore. Simple as that. We have Fariduddin Mohammed. Tell us about robotics. I would be very glad to tell you. In fact, in India, there are, if I'm not wrong, there are 4 to 5 universities who are offering BTech in robotics too. I don't remember the name. I've read an article too, but if you can Google it, it will really help you. But there are. Earlier, they weren't. Before 2014, 15, there wasn't, if any. But there are courses who are offering into robotics, because nowadays all automation industries are looking for that kind of expertise. So all the automation industry have gone into a robotics segment, right? So they need that kind of expertise. So all SCADAs, everything, they have been evolving to a different level. So that has a tremendous scope. We have a very few skill set in India. So if anyone want to pursue that, so it would have a very good opportunities, because the expertise is very less. Muhammad Anjani, the only reason I would say it is a matter of skill set. So there are a number of few private colleges who don't provide that kind of skill set. That is one of the major reason about jobs when you talk about. There are a number of companies who want people but they're not getting that kind of skill oriented stuff. So that is the gap. So that is the reason I said you in the start itself, key whenever you take an admission, please have a look with the MOUs. When an institute or a college or a universities who has an MOU, because that is the way they know what is the gap and what need to be taught. That really helps the student to bridge that gap. So the industry and the university or industry or the college gap, that have to be bridged, and that can only be bridged with the collaboration with the industry, or it could be an MOU, right? So that is the reason I've emphasized on the MOU part. So how to select, because normally people, what they do it, they only focus on the placement ratio. Always also focus on the MOU part also. When you have a very good score, why to compromise on it, right? Programming, yes, it would really be, if you are planning to enter into software or computer engineering or IT domain industry, or respective of any machine learning algorithm learning based, Safan, yes, the programming would really be an add-on to your engineering journey. It will really help you. And not in respect of the marks, but definitely when you go enter into this the journey of engineering, it would really help you. So we had few of the questions which we have tried to answer. Few we weren't able to answer. So that was a small crux about the career in engineering about. So I would request the panelists also, uh, if we are having the senior panelists also with us.
Professor Awab Sahab, you continue since you are doing a very good job. There are some questions in the chat also. If you want to take a scan through that quickly.
Sure, Sayyid Sahab. We have a question from Shah Tiflin. Do entrance exam is necessary for engineering? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In fact, either you get into the state university, you have to give the state entrance exam, sorry. Okay. Either you give a national exam, that is your JEE. Okay. And there are few deemed universities too who have their own entrance examination. So you can go with that too. So that was a question from Shah. Misbah Mumin, if we talk about the rank, about the BTech and architecture is a different course when you talk about BTech and civil management or a combination of civil and architect. That would be completely different. Okay, so the rank, I wouldn't be able to help you directly will tell you what rank you should get it, or what was the last year closing. So the Google will really help you in that, because last year cutoff for that particular college, that would really help you. One of the domain, like very few might be knowing about AR and VR, augmented reality. So even that is something a very evolving domain. Even people who are thinking about software engineering, right? So they can note down AR and VR. Even they can also do little R&D on this. We have a question from Mr. Abdul Subhan. Chemistry and mathematics are strong. Which engineering I can choose for? Your subjects won't decide your engineering field. Let's make it very clear. Like if you're strong in chemistry, so you will go for that engineering. Nothing like that. Okay. So let's make it very clear. That's what I said. The best way is that you read something about every domain, right? And then you make your questions for it, and then you keep asking your queries to the concerned authority. So that will really help you to have a better idea, rather than reverse asking someone to choose a branch for me. It's something like कि आप अपना career किसी और के हाथ में डाल रहे हैं, and you're telling them कि ठीक है, decide about it. So it doesn't work in that way. You have to put some efforts, okay, in deciding your career. So read an articles for every domain and let that person explain you each and every question what you have put up for him. Because your question would be a very generic, but he will explain you in a very detailed manner. But for that, you have to make some questionnaires so that you can post to him, right? So please do that kind of hard work. You have to make it. Please never ask anyone ki this subject is strong, which engineering I should go for it. That is not the right way for it. We have a question from Zainab. Zainab, there are a number of, when you talk about data related career, there are a number of content you will get it. Just type it on Google, you will get a number of content. So Google will be the best help for you. And still, if you feel key this article, if I read it is very genuine or not, you can please mail it to me. If you can please take my mail ID from the EMP team, I would be very glad to help you in any way, if it is possible. We have evergreen career option technologies. Listen, all the base branch, like when you talk about electrical, mechanical, civil, they are the base branch for it, for engineering. So they are the evergreen, they will never vanish because they're the basic for every branches. Okay, so that is something known as all the evergreen branches of engineering. So we have, I want to ask you after then, what should I choose? Mustafa Siddiqui, if you are planning for, you said ki, what should I choose? If you are very clear with engineering, the best way is to go with a diploma, and then you can venture into degree. But the only thing, Mustafa, we have to make it very clear. What happens when you do diploma? For diploma to degree, you need to have a very good score to get into a good degree college. I'll give you an example, like how it works. For example, when you do a 12th, right? When you do a 12, you get some XYZ score into MHCET. Okay, the entrance, what you have it, and then when you enter into a engineering college, so you have like 60 seats. Okay, so if there's 60 seats, so approximately there are 46 seats open for everyone. Approximately, if it is a non-minority college. Okay, so 48 seats it is open for everyone. So you are competing with 48 seats. So when you talk about diploma to degree, right? So when you get a diploma result, right? So if you're going for a degree admission, so you compete with 12 seats. So every branch have only 12 seats. So that is the ratio, my dear friend. Okay. So here you compete with 48 seats. Over there you compete with 12 seats. The only thing is that you have to make sure your score is good. So then only you get a good college and you get an admission. After 12th, getting an admission is not a major issue. Okay. So getting an admission into a very good college, yes, it is a task, but getting an admission is not a major task. Okay. But when you talk about diploma or degree, getting an admission and getting admission in a very good college, both are very difficult because the seat ratio is less. So you have to make sure that I'm not telling that it is very difficult, but point is that my only concern for all this, the overall review is that your score after diploma should be fair enough to get you an admission and to get an admission in a good college. Yes, DevOps is a very upcoming field. DevOps, AR, VR, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, that is something, data scientist, that is something, all comes in the major branches of software engineering. It is a very upcoming field. So basically we are done with all the queries, questions which have been.
Awab sir, I would like to ask 2 questions from my end because my students, they come to me with 2 doubts. So basic doubts. So first one is, how helpful or beneficial are the internship programs during our engineering course? Will they be given bonus points during interviews for a job?
And the second one, ma'am?
Second one is, at present, many branches of engineering are getting saturated, and many of them, I mean the engineers, are jobless. Is it because they lack competency or is it because of the saturation? List a few upcoming branches of engineering. Upcoming branches of engineering. And why are the engineers jobless?
Thank you, ma'am. First thing, ma'am, you have pointed out the question about internship. So according to the NEP policy and all the revised courses which have been developed into the university and the colleges, according to new norm, the 6 month internship is compulsory for every student. Okay, so with that internship, they'll be getting an advantage. It will help them in the marking as well as to give them an overview how a company exactly works, irrespective of whichever domain they are doing an engineering from. So the internship plays a very important role. Earlier, it wasn't compulsory. In fact, there were few private deemed universities even earlier, like in 2012, 2014, they had made it compulsory because they had their own syllabus, own governing council, so they had made it compulsory. But nowadays, all the universities and colleges are being following that internship has been made compulsory. In fact, the internship is being made for 45 days. It is also made compulsory into diploma courses too. Earlier it was only for degree. Now they have made it, they are emphasizing the diploma student also to go for internship for at least 45 days. So that was the answer for the internship. The second thing about the engineering, it is not about saturation, it is all about skill set. Since the social media, like it is impacting that you see social media, that's the only thing you're getting by saturation, so on and so forth. It is more about skill set, more about skill set. So if you haven't skill set, the job criteria is not the question. You have to hit the student at the right point. So that is really important. That's the reason the university and college should play a very important role. They should provide you the skill set which is required in the industry. Then you should focus on the placement. What is the placement ratio of the that particular college? That's the reason I said this parents, neither student, they don't focus on this criteria. So please focus on this criteria, how many MOUs that college is having it, because that will really help you. Because if a college is doing an MOU, trust me, that college will definitely come to that company will definitely come to that college for the placement. Simple as that, because they know that particular skill set, what they need, they are already trained into that domain because the lab is already set up in the institute. So this plays a very important. It is not about saturation. And about the upcoming domains, when you talk about, if I take about the n number of upcoming domains when you talk about the software industry, so we have already referred to it. One is data scientist, data engineer, machine learning. There are artificial intelligence, DevOps. One of the colleagues who have already said about the DevOps too. So these are the upcoming branches who are there, and which will create a number of job opportunities in the software domain too. That doesn't mean that the civil and mechanical won't have it. Yes, they will even too have it. In fact, in mechanical and civil, even there are a number of softwares who are coming up. Okay, so they would nowadays even they require a software this thing expertise to design. For example, when you talk about civil, so there are softwares known as, which is also used by the architect, known as Revit. So AutoCAD Premium, and so on and so forth. There are a number of software in that particular domain too. So the technology is being evolving in all the particular segments, irrespective, either it is a software, either it is a civil engineering, either it is a mechanical engineering, either it is electronics. Earlier, we didn't have a chip market, right? Now, government is emphasizing for a chip production, chipset manufacturing. Just imagine if the chipset manufacturing, I have already started with a trend. How many electronics engineers we would be requiring in coming years? Earlier, we didn't had a chipset manufacturing. So the job opportunities for a chipset manufacturing was very low. I should accept it. But now with time, yes, it will have a huge scope. Thank you.
So the last question of the day, when it comes to skill set, what are the skills to be improved upon once we join an engineering course?
When you join an engineering course, more than because the technicalities, you will get it from your college. Okay. Apart from the technicalities, the team leadership activities you should learn, that is really required. Irrespective of whichever company you go for it, the team engaging activity, you should be very effective, because if you want to raise it, you should know how to engage with your colleagues and how to engage with your seniors. But this is what we lack it in. So there are few ways where we should grow, where we can really help yourself to grow. Number one, make sure you are really active in the student body council in your college, because that will help you in developing your skill set, your vocabulary skill set, your confidence, your attitude, the way you speak, the way you portray things, the way you put things across the tables. Second, join an NGO. Okay, when you join an NGO, you meet people who are from different domains, different diversities, and you get to work on an honorary basis. And there you learn many things. You learn what is deadline, what do you have to present, what you don't have to present, and so on and so forth. So these are the two things. Make sure you continue in that, complete your 4 years journey, because getting into only a technical knowledge won't help you. Your technical knowledge and the way of presenting skills, the combination of both will really help you in growing at a different path. Thank you.
So I think we have covered almost all the questions and cleared the doubts of the students. So Jazakallahu Khaira, Professor Awab sir, for your insightful and informative session today. I'm sure that this session has benefited the attendees and made it easy for them and given them a clear knowledge about the courses in the physical science and engineering, and help them to make a choice by identifying a particular domain of their interest and skills. So I thank you on behalf of the panelists and also on behalf of all the attendees. Before signing off today's session, I would like to inform the attendees that we have a session on careers in emerging fields tomorrow at 5 p.m. Please do join the session with your friends and relatives and get benefited. With this, we have come to an end of the session. Hope to see you all again in tomorrow's session. Thank you, everyone.
Jazakallah khair, Amin. Jazakallah khair, Saeed Saab. Thank you, sir. Thank you, AMP team.
وإياكم إن شاء الله.
Jazakallah, sir.
السلام عليكم.